Deep in the heart of California wine country, one company is using science to create a more environmentally friendly wine. Here, absolutely nothing is wasted. Instead, each part is recycled to help create a living, breathing vineyard ecosystem. And that ecosystem holds host to a wide variety of creatures, including everything from birds and ladybugs to bees and wild pigs. Welcome to Eco Terreno Wines. When founder Mark Lyon started the label 4 years ago, he had more than 3 decades of winemaking experience under his belt. But this time around, he wanted to do something completely different.
First off, I am an environmentalist, and I believe very strongly in protecting the environment. I think that's one of the great things a farmer is they're the steward of the land, and that means being beneficial for the creatures and the plants and the native habitat around here and not to disturb it. So with biodynamic farming, we're adding life back into the soil. So I've gained a lot of knowledge about how to grow fine wines from this vineyard.
When Mark gave up using agricultural chemicals, he knew he had to replace them with something else. So he decided to create a biodynamic winery, a living ecosystem in which a variety of plant and animal species provide the nutrients for the crop. To convert the area from a conventional vineyard to a biodynamic one, Mark enlisted biodynamic researcher and consultant Daphne Armory.
I've been working with Eco Terreno for coming into my 5th season. This will be my 4th harvest. Biodynamics is it's living, it's alive, it's constantly shifting and changing. It's about rhythms, it's about elements, it's about how we engage and how the earth engages with us. It's about how the farm engages, every part of it. First and foremost, it was about letting the vines remember what their job was, what they were to do and how they were to do that, to produce the best fruit possible.
One of the most unique aspects of this vineyard is its bee garden. With scientists saying that many types of bees are at risk for extinction, the garden's dozens of species don't just help pollinate local plants, they also help support the planet's bee population. Mark also wants to encourage biodiversity by planting hundreds of kinds of fruits and veggies, some of which will be supplied to local restaurants. All kinds of animals, including hungry wild pigs, now have free access right across the property. But how do these changes affect the wine itself? Mark says that customers should expect greater variation between years, even from the same exact vines. Unlike conventional winemaking, biodynamic winemaking is a true reflection of the vineyard. More insects and warmer weather, for example, might result in a lighter and sweeter wine. Whether it's getting rid of unnatural chemicals or supporting local wildlife, Mark is leaving no stone unturned when it comes to making delicious, eco-friendly wine. With the sun and wind at his back and a smile on his face, he hopes to continue for years to come.
This is Mark Lyon. He is the owner, proprietor, and winemaker of Eco Terreno, the wine that we'll be tasting and talking through tonight. And welcome, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's the beautiful 5 p.m. here in wine country, and not to rub it in, but the temperature is, what is it? 73 in the vineyard.
Oh my gosh.
76 where I'm living now in Sonoma. So we're enjoying wine country weather now.
So Mark is here to represent, the first wines we're drinking is the Sauvignon Blanc. We already have it poured on our neck of the woods. So everybody who is watching today, if you were to ever want to do your own private little wine tasting and just get some wines available to share with your friends. We do this once a month on the 3rd Thursday. Every time it's a different winemaker or importer, usually focus on one winery. And again, we have the pleasure of having Mark today, and I have the pleasure of having my studio audience here. And which you can too. I know Chrissy usually has her own studio audience, usually has about 4 people, 5 people there with her. And that's kind of the point, is to enjoy this wine with your friends. And if you're by yourself, just opening a bottle and coming back to the recording later to listen to the other wonderful things Mark has to share about the specific wines if you choose not to open it. But we're going to start with the Sauvignon Blanc, which is pretty amazing because it's an old vine Sauvignon Blanc, which is very unusual. And I'm going to let Mark take it from here.
This wine is you could say it's a little bit blended with Sauvignon Blanc's pink cousin, as I call it, Sauvignon Gris. It's an old heirloom. I think it's more successful to blend with Sauv Blanc than Semillon in our area. Hence, I planted a little bit. But really, this is a blend of our two finest Sauvignon Blanc blocks. We have a old vine Sauv Blanc, planted by the late Rodney Strong. And then we have Muscat clone, which is a more aromatic variant of Sauvignon Blanc. And so I'm very pleased with this because I think I'm getting some of the richness and sort of the citrus blossom quality of the old vine mixed with more of the tropical and mango expressions of Muscat, and a little bit of kiwi citrus peel with Sauvignon Gris. That's really what I'm trying to put together. All right, now that you've seen it, but you can see, our acids are good, not real high, not really low. I don't do any malolactic. I ferment it in stainless, and then I keep about 2/3 in stainless, the other in neutral oak on light lees. I ball it up quickly so I can be more organic and use less sulfites. That's my goal there.
Can you explain the malolactic part? Because we're a bunch
yes,
of
absolutely
here that might not know what that means.
All right, so grapes have the two main acids they have is tartaric and also malic. Malic acid is what you find in apples. That makes apples crisp. It is a stronger organic acid, fruit acid. And in wines, in red wines, we have malolactic fermentation to convert the malic to a softer acid called lactic. And that's generally the acid that you find in, let's say, cheeses and dairy products, etc. It's a softer acidity. In reds, nearly all wine reds go through malolactic fermentation, have no residual malic. Whites is a different story. Most whites in the world do not undergo malolactic. However, Chardonnays, particularly white Burgundy in California, barrel fermented, barrel aged, generally undergo malolactic to add a little bit more of a buttery component to it. It also softens up the acidity and kind of adds a little bit more sort of espresso and other sort of praline qualities to it. So it can add a little bit interest, but Sauv Blanc, we're trying to make it more crisp and more citrus and fresher. So malic can add complexity, but lowers the acidity, and in some cases, the wine is less fresh and not as age-worthy. I hope that explains it.
Yeah, I love it. And I love how I love this Sauvignon Blanc. It's one of those Sauvignon Blancs that I could drink all day. It's not super acidic. It's just soft and it's bright. And I like the tropical fruits you listed that you have in it. We're not having it, the expression of. can you explain that, you've had these vineyards for a very long time. Maybe you could tell everybody a little bit about
Yes.
your background and why these are actually old vine Sauvignon Blanc.
Right. So my father and I bought this vineyard in 1980. It was planted in the early 70s by the late Rodney Strong. And at the time I bought it, had Sauv Blanc and Cabernet on it. And he had planted that vineyard on St. George rootstock, whereas most of the vineyards planted in the 70s and 80s were planted on AXR1. Unfortunately, phylloxera reappeared on AXR1 rootstock, not on St. George. So vineyards that had the St. George or the older rootstock, which Rodney Strong survived, but ones that had AXR1, which was nearly all of Napa and most of Sonoma County. But you still see old vine Zinfandel, old vine reds, and that's because the old timers in their wisdom thought St. George was the go-to rootstock, and it looked like it was had some truth through this one. So we still have old vine Sauv Blanc and Cabernet originally planted. And the final thing I want to say is, because we hit the 50+ year mark, we are entitled to make it a California Heritage Vineyard site. So it is in the annals of history as a California Heritage Vineyard because of its vine age, and it can legally be said it is old vine. It's a rarity. You see a lot more old vine Zinfandel, old vine Carignan, etc. In California, but you don't see old vine Cab and old vine Sauv Blanc. That's a pretty rare animal. You do in Bordeaux, and you do in some of the better vineyards in Loire where Sauv Blanc is planted, but it's rare to see vines that old. And I will tell you, it's a labor of love because the production goes down, the cluster sizes are smaller, but the flavor is more concentrated too. So I think it really adds to this wine. The final thing I want to say is we're 100% estate grown. I own the vineyards. I don't buy grapes from other people. One is the only way to be committed to organic, regenerative, and biodynamic farming. You have to do your own farming. I would say about 95% of the vineyards in California are conventionally farmed. Now, they'll tell you this story that we're sustainable, but sustainable just to me is another greenwashing term, because you could still use glycophosphates, you could still use chemical fertilizers and say you're a sustainable vineyard. The only thing that has credence is when you're certified, and we are.
You have all the control over your vines, and you can do with them, have a lot more flexibility, especially with the organic, but you also sell to a lot of vineyards that, because you have a lot of acreage, but you're also known to produce really good grapes, and people like that, right? So are you allowed to name some of the wineries that you?
Well, we sold to Chateau Saint Jean. They had a Lyon vineyard. It was all from the old vine block. We sell a lot of our old vine Sauv Blanc to Kievelstadt in Sonoma. And
Jordan was just here this weekend or last week.
He was.
Yeah,
really.
We talked a lot about you and your Sauvignon Blanc grapes.
Yeah, it's very it's a rare and unique site for sure.
We're gonna pour the rosé, and while we're doing that, maybe you can explain where your vineyard is and a little bit about your background and where you started.
Okay, so we'll talk geography first. The vineyard is in one of the finest wine growing areas in California for Bordeaux varietals, particularly Cabernet Sauvignon. It's really thought to be the preeminent region in Sonoma County for Cabernet Sauvignon. It's made some very legendary bottlings there. And Alexander Valley is, it has a very diverse climate, like Napa Valley. But if you were to say what it would be similar in climate anywhere from, let's say, south of Yountville all the way up to Calistoga in the northern part, and that pretty much sums up our terroir, because they have Napa River, we have Russian River to put those nice alluvial deposits a little bit from the hills. So it's very, it's very close in a lot of ways to Napa Valley, both climate and soil wise, or Valley for Napa Valley. We certainly have hillsides also in Alexander Valley, but it's really best suited for Bordeaux varieties. You don't plant Pinot Noir there, for instance, or it's probably too hot for Chardonnay either. So we really just focus on Sauvignon Blanc for white, Cabernet, and Bordeaux red blends for that. Now, my own background is I caught the wine bug in Europe when I was 18, and after that, I wanted to be a winemaker. Fortunately, I had good grades, and I could go be admitted to UC Davis, which really has the best viticulture and wine program in the country, if not the world. So I graduated in 4 years, and then I decided, gee, if I'm going to live anywhere, it'll be preferably in Sonoma County. I really, I thought I had a lot of potential, but also I thought it was not too backwoodsy and too rural for me.
We're close enough to civilization.
Yeah, we're close enough to San Francisco that and the Bay Area, so I thought I could have the best of both worlds, and I'd like to think I do with the wine country, but our tasting rooms in San Francisco, so that's always a delight to go there.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that. I want to show pictures and everything, and then have you tell us all about that. Before I get too far into that information, though, I skipped one thing, very, very important thing, before we moved on from the Sauvignon Blanc, and that was Christy. We forgot to have you share what you pair the Sauvignon Blanc with, and I guess
I did a butternut squash soup. And I had thyme and nutmeg and cinnamon in it.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Because I looked at the website of Eco Terreno, and they had a butternut squash soup recipe, and I was like, okay, let's go with this. And the warm spices really paired well. The thyme brought out a lot in the Sauvignon Blanc as well. So.
Yeah, I love making that soup. That is my everybody loves my butternut squash soup because I roast them and because I make my own chicken stock.
I did not go that far.
Well, let's just say I don't do that all the time. Depends, Christy, if I'm in a pinch. But I think definitely, I put a little bit of Sauv Blanc when I cook after I've sauteed the yellow onions. I like to put a little bit of that in there, maybe a few other things. You know the recipe. But
I didn't use your recipe. I started with your thoughts and went off.
Oh, okay. You went off on your
I
own.
did put a Portuguese wine in it, actually, so.
Yeah. No, so it's turning out to be a delightful pairing.
Yes, it's very good. And then with the rosé, I have a BLT pasta salad.
Ooh.
Because whenever I think of rosé, I think of bacon.
Oh, really?
I've never made a BLT pasta salad, but it's a cold pasta salad, right?
Yes,
What
yes.
kind of dressing is it? Is it a vinaigrette or is it a cream?
It's mayo based.
Okay. I love
Yeah. Little mayo, vinegar, a lot of good stuff in it.
Well, we just experimented with making a squash soup. My husband recently did that, and my mom here, Sherry, Mark, say hi. Mark, meet Sherry. Sherry, meet Mark. That's my mom, who's been involved with the wine business way before I was born.
There you are, Sherry. Good to meet you.
Yeah, we had a wine store that started in Long Beach in 1938, and she was the one that pioneered all the wine tastings and the trips up to Napa and Sonoma before there were wineries or anything. And I'm a very lucky recipient of all of her chicken broth. So.
Oh, really? That's why you're healthy and have such a nice glow to you.
Thank you. Yes, whenever I'm feeling down, it's they call it Jewish penicillin, but I think it's good for everybody. Just drink that.
Yeah.
I just drink that soup in a like mug, and next day I'm golden.
Yeah. No, there's wisdom in them bones and boiling them and getting all that good cartilage in there. My latest twist, I don't mean to get off key, is
I love this.
to put
This is perfect. We want to
in my when I'm making my chicken stock to add more cartilage, and I gotta say it definitely is helping. Nothing goes to waste, you know the French.
Oh yeah. And I love that the recipe. I don't know if all the recipes are from you, but the first pairing, it sounded like Christy saw the pairing that you had on the Eco Terreno website was from you.
Yeah, well, I'm overdue for another recipe match, and I think my next one is I'm going to show the world how to make a classic Caesar salad using the original recipe, and why it's so important to make your own dressings. So important. Do not buy it from the store.
Yes, they have lots
Make
of
your
bad oils.
much better, much better.
We don't like those bad oils. I wanted to, before we
Yeah.
get too far, first of all of your wines have a very similar logo. But this one's very unique. We could go over what the logo says or interprets in a minute, but this particular one compared to, say, this one that has a solid color, this one is a rainbow color of the same logo.
It's a rainbow. Gee,
yeah, it's a rainbow. So it's called Pink Pride Rosé. Do you want to tell everybody why you created
so it's
that?
really an homage to Pride Month and LGBT community. This winery is 100% LGBTQ owned, and certainly San Francisco has a very welcoming quality about our wine. So it was really about Pink Pride, and also, my husband and I support a lot of LGBT causes, particularly during Pride Month. It's there's a lot of Pride parties. I'm starting to get a little burned out with all the Pride parties going on, but as Liberace said, too much of a good thing is wonderful.
Okay.
So
I love it. Yes, you're very, very supportive. I've been the recipient of, pouring your wines because of your generous donations at events. So thank you for that. So that's what the rainbow color.
Yeah, that's where the rainbow comes in. It's part of the LGBT flag.
Oh, there you go. You have a full bottle. I like that better.
Yep. Yeah. There you go.
There you go. I love it.
Zoom in on that color.
Yes.
Love that.
So I don't know if everybody can see this. Some people know this, some people don't, but there's kind of two images embedded in this logo. You can take yourself off mute or write in the chat. I don't know if I have the chat open, if anybody's been asking questions. But does anybody have any opinion of what they see? A B. Okay, so we got one thing. We got a B.
Mm-hmm.
That is bingo. You got that right. What about, does anybody see anything else? Can you see? Do you have a label?
The little grapes.
Yes.
Yep.
Who said that?
Josie.
Josie. Bing, 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 bing. You were there. So basically, it's like a horizon line, and you have the soil and the sunset, kind of the sky. So basically, you have above the land, below the land, because the land is so important in this whole world of winemaking.
Yes.
Grape
And
growing, I should say.
yeah, and the bee story is a very compelling one too, because it's considered one of the most valuable species on the planet for Earth survival, a lot more than humans. And so their survival, making sure they thrive is important. And this is again why it's not good to be spraying a lot of pesticides out there. And there's some other produce that uses it when they plant corn. So you really want to, if at all possible, try to buy organic foods also, not just organic wines, because then you know that it's environmentally friendly. So we're point where we need to not have our birds and our bees, excuse the pun, populations are decreasing. We need to change that trajectory. And in a very small part, that's the agriculture. And why I have the bee garden, but it's really more overall. We're just making it inviting and friendly, and we're not killing native bee population by spraying pesticides out there. Does anybody have questions
Thank you
the Pink Pride or
yes, or Sauvignon Blanc or anything. Any questions?
I'm happy to talk about rosé winemaking, and but I just want to say a few things about our rosé style. It's not a varietal rosé. I like using both Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc. I think they're one of the better Bordeaux grapes for making rosé wine from. And I will I don't make it from Senier. I don't pick ripe cab and drain it off and add acid. I try to shoot on rosé anywhere from mid-12 to 13.1. So it's supposed to be a very fresh style. I will also tell you both our Sauv Blanc and Pink Pride Rosé should be served very well chilled. They should be in, particularly when it's warmer, they should be in a nice ice bucket, or you keep it going in the fridge or the freezer and pour. You do not want this getting a lot. There you go.
I got my ice bucket.
Ice bucket brigade. Temperature is everything on these two wine enjoyments. I'd say temperature is more critical than whether you have the right stemware or not.
Not everybody knows this, but basically, rosé could technically be made out of any red grape varietal, and your chosen grape varietals you had mentioned were Cabernet, right? And
Cabernet and Cabernet Franc, right?
And was it your choice to do those grape varietals because you focus specifically on Bordeaux grape varietals?
Yes, yes. That's all we have in our wheelhouse, and I didn't want to venture into other varietals, and frankly, I like the rosé of Cabernet style too. It works really well in our area. People are enjoying it.
Yeah, I love it. It's beautiful. It's refreshing. It's light in color, and it's everything you want out of a rosé. We have a question here in the audience.
So I was wondering about the term Bordeaux varietals.
She was wondering about the term Bordeaux varietals.
Well, that's a really good question.
Are we doing, while you're answering that, are we doing this one, the cuvee next?
Yeah, we should do that one. Yes.
Okay, so this is one of the ones that has the Bordeaux varietal. So take it away.
Okay. So, excellent question. Now, I'm not going to take a lot of time, but Bordeaux is arguably the most famous wine region in the world. It is a pretty large wine region in France. And Bordeaux wines are not 100% varietal. Burgundy wines are 100% Chardonnay, 100% Pinot Noir. Bordeaux is different. It is really important, and they blend different varieties to make the finest red wine possible. Without further ado, the three main grapes, though, in Bordeaux, followed by acreage. Number one is Merlot. Number two is Cabernet Sauvignon. Three is Cabernet Franc for reds. Now you see we have a little other varieties that are also grown Bordeaux, like Petit Verdot, which is considered a Bordeaux variety and an important blender. Also, particularly in Margaux area, Petit Verdot is. Also, Malbec is considered a Bordeaux variety too. And you'll see that also in the Cuvée Tierra mix. So those are called Bordeaux varieties. White Bordeaux varieties, Semillon and Sauvignon Blanc are the two main grapes. There's a little bit of Muscadelle du Bordelais and a little bit of Sauvignon Gris in there too. But really the mainstay is either it's a Semillon-based white blend or it's a Sauvignon Blanc-based white. And of course, they blend even their white Bordeaux. They're rarely are they 100%. There are a few notable exceptions, but in essence, Bordeaux is a blended wine.
And your region is very similar to like Bordeaux itself, so that's why the Bordeaux grape varietals grow so well.
Particularly the soils, because we have very well-drained alluvial soils. Bordeaux got its soil deposits from Gironde, ancient river. Ours is from the Russian River. So we have alluvial soils as a result, with varying amounts of loam and vigor as a result.
Yeah, and you're right on a river yourself, right?
We're right next to the Russian River. That's correct.
Yeah, we were just there pretty recently, and I don't know if the river moved a little bit further away or if it was down further, but it seemed further away than I remember.
Yeah, it depends on what time of the year. They'll restrict flow from one of the dams up north, starting around like late summer, just to keeping up there to keep municipalities going.
Christy, you're on. What did you pair with the Cuvée Tierra?
With the Cuvée Tierra, I paired mushroom pate crostinis.
Ooh.
So I sauteed mushrooms, pine nuts were toasted. I used my mom's fresh basil, garlic. What else is in this? There's a little bit of mayo. It's so good.
It's delicious.
Shallots.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So we have the Cuvée Tierra. Is that the right percentages of the Cabernet? The 61% Cabernet, 13 Malbec, 13 Petit Verdot, and 13 Merlot. Is that the right one for this one?
I have the winemaking notes here in a nutshell. The Cuvée Tierra is a blend that I make decisions on each year, whether to be more Cabernet Sauvignon or Cab Franc based. depending on what I think is going to work well. I try to make this in a more a softer, more attractive, earlier drinkability style. This is not a luxury wine that you age forever. You know, is this wine built for 20 years? No, but it's been on a really good trajectory and drinking beautifully right now. As you know, we with biodynamic and organic, we practice non-tilling because we're trying to again add more life to the soil.
That's where this fits in. All these beautiful. This is like in between the vines.
Yeah,
So this is the
this is
non-tilling
the
part.
mustard grass in bloom.
And what
This
advantage
is the
that?
old vine cab here. This is the old vine block.
Yeah, that's even thicker.
And
Vine.
again, you can see the gnarly old vines.
Yeah.
Yes, you can see it's starting to bud out now.
Yeah, the little buds right there.
Totally spring. You can see the hills in the background are all green too.
Oh, does this one?
Yeah, this is the one planted by Rodley Strong in 73.
So let's do the math on that. That's at least it's
Yeah.
over 50 years. 50.
Yeah,
2
it's
years.
52. And yeah, that one's the Sauvignon Blanc. Yes.
And when was that done?
That was also planned 73 too.
I know that area floods periodically.
You know, you're absolutely right.
Is that a
Vineyard is arguably in the floodplain. Now, I will tell you, vines are a-okay if it floods. And if you want to know where the origin of vine is, its whole existence was to be climbing up trees in riparian areas and laying down deep roots, so it would suck up water from the river, and it would climb up trees. So it's a climber. It's got tendrils, and what it would do is it would have grapes that would be attractive to birds, and the birds would say, "Oh, look, there's red. Oh, there's color here. Oh, it's a little sweet, even better." But the birds go after the seeds in the vine, and that way the birds do it a favor. Is not only do they eat the seed and then later poop it out, but they add a little fertilizer. So that is the life cycle of grapevines. So their origins are being in flooded rivers during the winter time, and they're used to drier spells in the summertime and still hanging out there. They're survivors.
Nice. Yeah, that explains why vines grow up on, buildings. The fact that, that they're climbers makes sense. We're the ones as humans that seem to have pushed them into their own separate space.
Exactly. We decided to hybridize. Well, I shouldn't say selection. Select out the better varieties, and of course, the finest grapes are Vitis vinifera species. So it's Vitis is the vine's genus, and then species is vinifera for wine grapes.
I'm just going through some more photos here of the cover crop. I think those are marigolds and the orange ones. And
right.
The bud is breaking a lot more. It's actually more than bud breaking.
Exactly. This is probably around, yes, I'm going to say probably late spring. And you can see the cover crop did quite well. We plant cover crops to either as insectiaries, so we attract the good bugs to eat the bad bugs, but a lot of our control for those darn leaf hoppers is we have a chicken population, and they go after they're the predators of our leaf hoppers.
Nice. So it sounds like, it looks like, you know, you have a lot of different, you said the mustard at the beginning, and then we saw a bunch like the marigolds, and we saw
Yeah,
those
that's
other,
natural.
like is there each one, does each one have its own specific purpose?
Yeah, we have, depending on the block, we'll have a different mix of cover crop that we plant. And depending on what we're after, like if there's a block that has been a bit plagued by, let's say, leaf hoppers, we will plant insectiary every other row. If there's one that is overly vigorous, we'll go to more of the oats and the grasses to devigor. If we have one lacking nitrogen, we'll go and plant legumes in order to add nitrogen, to do nitrogen fixing and add to the soil. I think the other thing that we like about this non-till farming is it also helps sequester carbon, because it has nowhere to go except back into the earth. So we also do other things too. Compost is really good, and it helps with nitrogen, carbon fixing too, by helping plants grow better. And also we make our own compost. We buy organic cow manure, and we buy a little bit organic hay for the carbon part, and we make our own compost, and we spread it out anywhere from late October to mid-November with the right cover crop seeds, and that's how we farm.
Yeah, it sounds like, I mean, that's basically the most organic way. That's kind of organic in a nutshell, that instead of using herbicides and pesticides to get rid of stuff, you plant beneficial plants that attract beneficial insects that do kind of the work for you. I have some other shots of newly budded grapes, but you also mentioned some compost.
Yeah, you saw the compost pile. I was walking with Daphne, and
right in the video,
how it is. It will ferment when we first have it. We have to keep the temperature not above a certain max point. We turn it around here and there.
So that one is a bird box, but you also have owl boxes. And
yeah, we do. Yeah,
can you explain to everybody the significance of having the owls specifically, but also the birds?
Well, they're good at getting vermins out. Certainly they like to go after rats and golfers, so that's a plus. Particularly when it comes to more the farm, because the golfers and rats are a pest, frankly.
Right. So again, a natural way of not just getting rid of the small pests, but they're getting rid of the big pests. And so instead, if you don't have enough trees for the owls to nest in to be able to hunt at night, we have what they call the owl boxes. And once you start seeing them, you can't unsee them. So we do have the Cab Franc in everybody's glass here. Christy, do you, I don't know if you have it yet, but if you want to chime in and tell us what you...
I do have it. And with this, I paired a slider that has Havarti on it and a bourbon bacon onion jam, which you don't have to use the bourbon I used. My knees are not what they used to be, so I did not go downstairs. So I used my $90 bottle of bourbon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Those are some expensive sliders there.
Right? So we're going to have this the Cab Franc, and we'll see how it works.
So the Cab Franc also, even though it's primarily a Cab Franc, can you tell us what the percentage has to be in order to be able to have
Yes,
the basically the main varietal on the front label opposed to the Cuvée
right.
Terre.
75% or greater. And with the 2022, I was writing the edge a little bit on that one. It's been Cab Franc has been very successful. I really believe Cab Franc has a nice future in California, and I think it's a little more attractive in terms of softer wine than Cabernet Sauvignon. It may not have as much richness or blackberry fruits as Cabernet Sauvignon, but it has this, I think, really nice sort of like tobacco leaf, a little bit of a fennel quality to it. We certainly picked it right. There's some strawberry in there too. But again, a little bit darker fruit on the palate than what the nose would be like. The tannins are soft. I make this wine in a more fresher Cab Franc style. I will for about 7 months in barrels. It has a very short barrel aging cycle because, again, I'm trying to make something an earlier drinking Cab Franc, and I'm not trying to make a darker, complex style, but a pop and pour style of Cabernet Franc. As you can see, I do blend a fairly good dollop of Petit Verdot in my Cab Franc, and I just find that co-fermenting a little Petit Verdot, which is a darker, more tannic, more structured red, will add, I think, a little the structure that perhaps Cab Franc lacks, that Cabernet does offer. So I generally do a little co-fermentation there. I also, in order to finesse it, make it a better wine, I then see how much Cabernet or any other Bordeaux red really makes this wine taste even better. And you can see that it is definitely a little bit of Cab, a smaller amount of Merlot. The alcohols are there, but not too high, about 14. It's a very approachable style, and it's drinking beautifully right now.
I have a question real quick though. You said the Cab Franc and the Petit Verdot you co-ferment. Does that mean that you put them together with the percentages you know ahead of time?
Yes, I know. I know
together?
ahead of time. I know if I ferment, co-ferment anywhere from 10 to 15% Petit Verdot for this particular blocks, it will be a better wine than if I added that Petit Verdot later on. And the reason why is because sometimes you can get with co-fermentation, it really will help even more magnify and create more color and structure than by blending later. In particular, it's kind of an interesting little trick of the trade. As you know, back in the old days, the old time farmers, they were having mixed varieties in their block. They weren't all 100% Zinfandel. They were not 100% Carignan.
So the Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot though are added later. The other two are co-fermented.
Yes,
together?
you're absolutely right. That's the finishing touch blend. Yes, and that's just something I do. That's one of my winemaking tricks of the trade. Particularly, it works well with Cab Franc. I don't always do that, but I find if I can do some co-fermentations with, let's say, Malbec and a tannic Cab, or Petit Verdot and perhaps Cab Franc, which is a bit deficient in color. It can really get to where it needs to go. Yeah, there's magic that happens with co-fermentation that I try to take advantage of when I'm fermenting Cabernet or Cab Franc, but in particular Cab Franc. But I also like blending Cab Franc later on with Cab Sauv or Merlot later on with Cabernet Sauvignon too.
I'm gonna unshare your screen. I'm gonna go back to those photos that we just, if there's anything that jumps out to you that you want to talk about. I love your big garden. I love this little picture here. Bee crossing. Watch out. There's the river, right, literally right across from the vineyard. Just walk down the path. This looks like soil that is that for the biodynamic?
Yeah, we're making some of our tea concoctions there. Yes.
So this is where you bury, for biodynamics, you bury the horns with
right, and then this is our 501c prep that we unburied the horn. Now it's time to make the prep.
I think there's some more pictures with that, but basically the prep is once the horns are buried with the manure for a certain amount of time. It's one of the biodynamic preparations that you put on the vines, which do what exactly?
Yeah, it just adds a little more vitality and vigor to the vines. But really, the 501c, it's really adding. It's more for the soil and the health, because really, what happens when when the cow dung is buried in the horns and it's had that time cured. Then we will take it out and we will use it for making our sprays or 501c. And what we do is we take some of that essence and we put it in these big aerobic, bubbling, churning chambers of water, and we bubble and we add oxygen. It's kind of like what you do with sewage with aerobic fermentations. Here, what we're doing is creating the population over 1,000-fold from what it was, because we're again adding oxygen, stirring in there, and you can see it. That's our way of making these preps.
Yeah, so these are like making a very large cup of tea, which I know one of my friends here is very tea oriented gal, and all these preparations are basically a tea added to water. We were just not only with the biodynamics, but I saw that I think they are dandelions. There's so many, like the cow horns and the manure are one, but all the rest of them are flowers. Like, is this a dandelion? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's yarrow and stingy
yeah.
They all have different attributes.
Right. We use some flowers in the preps. I can't just spill out all the recipes on biodynamic farming, but yes, we definitely harvest our own fennel and flowers and a few other things too for making these preps and sprays.
So going back to the tasting room, which you said this was inside of, you have 3 levels. And I haven't been there yet. I can't wait. This is in San Francisco, and San Francisco or California has these weird laws, right? Where you can't have a lot of different tasting rooms, and you have to kind of pick a place to have your tasting room. You can have it at the vineyard, or you can have it at the winery, or you can have it somewhere else, which is what he's doing right here. It says Lyon and Swan. So where is this in San Francisco for everybody who likes to travel up there? And what do you do? What do you do at each level?
Well, upstairs are offices, so curtains closed. The second floor is really our members' salon. We also have a kitchen there, so we can have chefs do live demos in front of anywhere up to 20 people. For our wine club members, it's their member salon, so they have an exclusive tasting, and they have really a bird's eye view from there. And then the entry level, the ground level, is the entrance for the tasting room. We always like people doing reservations, but walk-ins invited.
But it's a beautiful space in San Francisco, so if you're there next
Yeah,
time, that's where you can.
it's a very historical building. It was built in 1910 after the earthquake, and downstairs was famous because it was a speakeasy. So interracial couples could go there without being ostracized, or because even back then, believe it or not, it was illegal to have interracial marriages. So
Yeah.
it was very, very frowned upon. So you could bring your interracialness there and have hear some very famous jazz musicians and be in a safe space and place.
Nice. So
We
that's-
have countless stories to tell about, but we won't do that all. So I guess
I'll have to save that for next time, I guess. I don't know. So Christy has been texting me pictures. So before we get into the next wine and the next tasting, or the next wine is the Sauvignon Blanc. I mean, sorry, Cabernet Sauvignon, which by the way is a Cabernet Sauvignon is the marriage of what two wines?
yes, it is Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc. Mom and dad are Cab Franc and Sauvignon Blanc. Oh, what's that?
So these are I think that's the first, is that the first course, Christy? You could chime in. That's the first course.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh, the
looks like
butternut
a salad,
squash too.
Yep. And then the BLT pasta salad.
Oh, right. So you have the squash with the Sauvignon Blanc that she has there, and then you have the BLT salad with the rosé. And then we have the Cuvée Tierra, which
Nice.
is
The mushroom pate. The mushroom pate.
mushroom pate. And then we have the very expensive lighter because of the whiskey that she used for the
Slide.
sauce.
It was delicious. It was a perfect pairing.
Make me hungry.
Okay, well, I'm gonna share the picture while Christy, you could. We're about to taste this Cabernet, so if you're not on it, you can pour it now or wait. So while I'm showing this picture, you could explain what the last pairing is.
Peanut butter and jelly cookies.
Peanut butter jelly cookies. I don't know if you can see it.
It's supposed to have a peanut butter ganache on top, but I worked today and then I took a nap. So I did not completely finish it, but it's peanut butter and then it's blackberry jam on the top.
Always count on Christy for her amazing pairings. Thank you, Christy.
One of the beauties of growing your own grapes is you get to choose what blocks you want to use. And of course, I know which blocks are better than others. And so I would covet those blocks. I do some of my better blocks, I do sell to some prestigious wineries. We have Kane in Napa, which is starting an Alexander Valley program for cab. And so we sell to them and a few other estates. But I just want to say that this is really, again, coming from our better blocks. As I open up the screen, I know what cab block it was. Yes. And what I do with the Cabernet is I'll do 2 different harvests for the AV cab. One will be an earlier one from the earlier ripening cab blocks, and then the later ones I will pick a little bit later in early October. You can see I blended 80% cab. I got a pretty good dollop of Cab Franc in there because I think it just does really well with Cabernet. and then a little pinch of Merlot and Petit Verdot, and sort of old heirloomy obscure grape called Saint Macaire, and then 1% Malbec. I have the alcohol is there, but not too heavy. The acids were pretty good in the Cabernet Sauvignon, but again, we're really selecting our finest Cabernet blocks for this particular wine.
I'm interested to know more about the Saint Macaire.
Oh, who asked that question?
Christy.
You ask a really good question. So Saint Macaire is, it is a old Bordeaux heirloom variety that is allowed to be used in California Meritage or Bordeaux red blends. So it's legally can be called that. We're not a part of the Meritage Society, but certainly it is a very old one. And it's kind of unusual in that it is a little larger cluster. It's a more sensitive to sunburn. However, it is making by far the darkest color Bordeaux red variety I've seen. It is definitely adds color and interest. I've done it with a few other blends, but it's kind of like that. It would be akin to you adding a little bit of nutmeg and cinnamon. Just a little bit really can transform a lot. But it is definitely makes a very dark, heavily pigmented red. One final thing I like to say here, it is by far our large best-selling wines. Again, more drinkable, non-harsh tannins. I know how to do proper extractions on Bordeaux varieties. It's one of my scientific wizardries I do.
You're one of the most award-winning Cabernet producers when you're under Sebastiani, right? So you're
That's
really
true.
known for doing Cabernet. So this makes sense that this would be such a good.
Yeah, I just decided now I'm just gonna be more vineyard and farm focused than larger focus. But I again, I think it is, you could say, a passion project, but the idea is really how can we promote organic farming, organic foods, organic wines out there. Obviously, that's a pet project of Annie too.
Exactly. And one of the pet projects that we're going to talk about that I just found out I have access to, we have the Malbec, 100%. Well, I don't know if it's 100% Malbec, it's not 100%, but it's majority
No,
Malbec.
but it sure is
98%.
up there. Malbec is very successful in our area. That and Petit Verdot, I think, arguably, I think we found the California sweet spot. It offers Malbec as a grape. As you know, it makes its most famous renditions are in Argentina, but origin is from France. It's from a wine region called Cahors, which is kind of more of a country wine, and it is known as the black wines of France because Malbec makes very dark colored red wine. But Malbec is also low in tannin and also low in acid by and large. Now, I probably counteract it. I do add a little bit tartaric in the Fermentation, as you can see with the acidity as it's presented. But again, I'm really, I think why Malbec is very attractive in the marketplace is because it generally is softer tannin, and it has maybe a little bit more spice components to it than other Bordeaux varieties. It's just drinkable. It really adapts well to our area. It's a good yielder. It likes a little the hotter interior valley areas in Napa and Alexander Valley, and it seems to have found a happy home where it is. This is a new inaugural release for us. We think it will do very well in the marketplace because people like having darker reds, but they don't want to have the tannins with it.
Yeah, so just so you know, if anybody wants the Malbec, even though we haven't tried it yet, it's going to be available on Organic Wine Exchange very soon because we have access to it, and all I have to do is put it on the website. So that's an added wine that maybe when we do another tasting next year with the new vintages, and we can add the Malbec to it. Well, Mark, it's been a pleasure, full of knowledge, full of passion, full of everything. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Okay, well, thank you for this adventure into Eco Terreno world, in our dedication to making high quality wines. And we believe that the key to making high quality wines, other than having fantastic appellation in regions, is through farming. And hence, that's why we have 100% control over it. And really, if you look at all the top estates in Europe, they're really all moving to organic viticulture. Some regenerative here and some biodynamic, but all in all, the top estates, that's the direction in Europe. I just wish California would follow suit, but they aren't, because farming organically is more expensive. And that's just a living fact. But that's why we pay a little more for organic produce because it's better flavor and healthier for you.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well,
Thank you, Mark.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
You have a good evening, and thanks for your interest. And please buy Eco Terreno wines.
glasses. How many people have wine in their glasses still? But cheers. Thank you so much.
Cheers. Okay. Take care, all. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you.